My parents kicked me out of my room because my sister and her kids wanted to move in. Stay in the basement for now, my father demanded. Then they hiked my rent to $1,400. So I planned my exit music and watched them lose their minds. I was 26 and saving for a house. I'd been paying my parents $500 a month for the room I grew up in since I started my first real job. That was the deal. I paid rent at home, helped with music groceries, and in exchange got my old bedroom and a runway to put a down payment together. My sister Rosalind was 32, on her second music divorce, and had 2 boys under 5 who were not supervised in any meaningful way. She had moved out of state 3 years ago to find herself, and apparently music had found herself unemployed and broke. My father called me into the living room on a Sunday. Your sister is coming home next month. She needs the master bedroom for the boys. Your mother and I are taking your room. You are moving music downstairs. I asked where Rosalind would sleep. The master. We are converting the den for ourselves. I asked when this was decided. It is decided now. I went down to the basement that night and stood at the bottom of the stairs. The ceiling was unfinished. There was a slow leak in the corner under the laundry hookup. The smell of mildew was layered into the carpet remnant my father had laid down in 2009. I asked him to at least have someone look at the moisture. It is fine music for now. We will fix it after they settle in. 2 weeks later, I came home from work, and my bed was already in the basement. So were my clothes in trash bags. So was the desk I used for my online classes. My books were stacked in a corner near the water heater. The boys were running up and down the hallway upstairs. Rosalind was on the couch in my old room watching a tablet. Music. The next month, my father knocked on the wall at the bottom of the stairs. Family meeting. Rosalind was at the table painting her nails. We need to talk about expenses. With everyone here, costs are up. Rent is going to be $1,400 starting music next month. $1,400 for a basement with a leak, no door at the top of the stairs, and a shared bathroom 1 floor up. What about Rosalind? Music. Your sister is in a transition. She is not paying anything right now. That is not your concern. It is my concern when I am the only one paying for the house. Lower your voice. I did not lower my voice. I went back downstairs, opened my laptop, and emailed a mortgage broker a friend at work had recommended. I had already been pre-qualified 2 months earlier. I had a number, I had savings. I started looking at townhouses the next morning. I paid the $1,400 for 3 months music, while I closed on a 2-bedroom unit 12 minutes from the warehouse. I did not tell anyone. I worked overtime to cover the down payment. Rosalind's boys broke my monitor, and my parents told me to be flexible. I documented it. I took a video of the basement leak every week. I kept the rent transfers in a folder. The week before closing, iMusic drove to City Hall on my lunch break and asked the records clerk if the basement at my parents' address was on file as a permitted rental unit. She typed for a minute. Music. Me. There's no certificate of occupancy for that space as a dwelling. It is on file as unfinished storage. Music. I asked her what would happen if someone reported a rental there. She told me, the day I moved out, 2 men I hired loaded the truck in 90 minutes. My mother stood in the driveway. You cannot just leave. We need that money for the second mortgage. That was the first I had heard of a second mortgage. My father came out holding a piece of paper. Music. Where do you think you're going? We have an agreement. I handed him 3 documents. The first was the property records printout, showing the basement was not a legal music rental unit. The second was the city housing complaint filed that morning. The third was a copy of the HELOC application they had submitted last year, which I had found in a desk drawer in the den when I went up to grab my last box. On the income section, music, they had listed me as a tenant paying $1,400 a month for the previous 18 months, which was not true. The bank's signed copy, music, was in my pocket. My father read the first page and sat down on the porch step. Rosalind came outside, holding a juice box. What is happening? Nobody answered her. I got in the truck. My mother called me 11 times before I made it to my new address. I did not pick up. The city inspector came the following week. The fine was $4,200, and they had 90 days to bring the basement to code or remove the tenant they had falsely claimed lived there. I had already removed myself. Rosalind moved out 2 months later.